You're not real.
I'm very real.
Sure did get me. You sure did.
Cage tiger. Must pounce.
Teen Titans followed a group of young superheroes, Robin, Cyborg, Starfire, Raven, and Beastboy, as they defend their city from villains while also navigating their personal struggles. The show was exceptional in blending superhero action with deep emotional character development and also dwelling into darker themes such as trauma, loss, identity. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna go into the mental themes addressed and how the show wasn't shy in addressing these mental traumas. So we're gonna start off with Raven. Raven, a half demon, half human character, and her powers are closely linked to her emotions. She struggles with balancing her empathy and with the constant threat of losing control due to her father Trigon, who intends for her to bring about the end of their world. Some mental themes that was addressed was emotional suppression, fear of vulnerability, self-sacrifice, and the burden of destiny. Before season 4, episode 11 through 13, Raven was very aware of what her role was, and her role was to bring about the end of the world. But this really led to her to internalize a sense of isolation. She really struggled with the notion that she might need to sacrifice herself for the greater good. Throughout the end, parts 1 through 3, Raven's confrontation with Trigon and her willingness to sacrifice herself for the world really highlight her emotional resilience and the heavy burden she had on herself for this destiny. Previously, before this in season 3, when it was referenced towards Raven's father, really explored Raven's fear of her father's influences on herself and her own potential for seeking this darkness, and really deepened her struggle with predetermined roles. Raven's character was so unique when I think about it, and it was also very sad because we have this young child who's believing that the world would be better off without her, and that is just so sad. It's so crazy how the writers wrote Raven in a way in which they were able to present this to children. I give them props to doing that, because that takes a lot of creativity and a lot of emotional vulnerability to even showcase that into a show. It goes into the next point on why she was struggling so much to control her emotions, because she was struggling her predetermined destiny. It reminds me of the show Ever After High, when the main character was also struggling her predetermined destiny. She was suppressing her emotions in order to keep her powers in check. And this creates a more personal conflict between wanting to connect with her teammates emotionally and fearing that she might hurt them in the process. For example, when she really connected with the boy in the book, she was able to connect with him because he already had that mindset of going through what she'd gone through. She leaned on him more than her teammates just because she was scared that her teammates wouldn't like her at the end of the day. In order to connect with people, she had to confront herself first. It really shows all the emotions she was suppressing and how she'd been suppressing before she even found the other Titans. Now we're gonna go for Cyborg. Cyborg's trauma really stems from his transformation into a half human, half machine after a life-threatening accident. Before all this, Cyborg was a star football player. He was gonna do great things with his life, but this accident really set him back emotionally and physically because he became half cyborg. Throughout the series, he was grappling with the sense of humanity and often questioned his self-worth. Some other mental themes that was really showcased with Cyborg's character was body dysmorphia, feeling inadequate, and desire to escape responsibility. Like I said before, Cyborg really struggled with his physical reality. He could not believe that because of others, he was in this mechanical body, and he often alienated from others because he was not human. It was a constant reminder of his loss of humanity and a loss of his past self. So throughout the series, especially in season 1, he was really grieving his past self, and he was really yearning for a normal life and also to feel fully human again. Season 1, episode 5, Cyborg really confronts the fear that he's more machine than man when his power cell runs low. this episode in particular really highlighted his struggle with body dysmorphia, and that's really a hard thing to go through, especially as a teenager, trying to feel acceptance about how you cannot go back to your previous self. He was also struggling the desire to lead the team versus the desire to escape responsibility. In season 1, him and Robin did not really get along as much compared to the rest of the members. He really showed a strong sense of leadership abilities. He often tried to avoid responsibilities. Now, based on the comments, I can see why he had internal pressure to prove himself, because his father was pretty much absent in his life and his father had other priorities other than his son. In season 2, when he went on undercover at the Hive Academy, it was really his moment in proving to himself that he is capable of leading a team. So during this episode, he had to balance his leadership with the temptation of living a normal life as he infiltrates the Hive Academy. And also, this episode was really important to his character development because it really showcased his struggle to reconcile his roles. Constant struggle of desirement was also seen when he went to Titan's East. This 2-part episode shows how Cyborg, even though he wants to be a leader, just because he feels as though he's supposed to be a leader because of his upbringing, it shows that he's not really fit to be a leader at that point. It shows that he had to do a lot of inner work in himself before he's even able to become a leader or become a person that people look up to. Now we're gonna go into my girl Starfire. When I was younger, I wanted to be Starfire, like, not gonna lie. Anyway, Starfire, she's a Tamarinian alien who struggles with fitting into human society while also maintaining her identity and values. And she's often portrayed as innocent and joyful, but underneath she really wrestled with the deep fears of being rejected. Some mental themes addressed was social anxiety, fear of abandonment, sibling rivalry. These mental themes really compelled her to become more of a developed character. Now, I'm gonna put this note in here. Throughout the seasons of Teen Titans, I noticed that each season was more directed for a certain character, but out of all the characters didn't really get a season. She was more popped in other character seasons. I really wish we had another season just so we can go into Starfire more, but we get enough that we can see these mental themes. Starfire's complex relationship with her sister Blackfire reveals her fear of not being good enough. Blackfire constantly tries to undermine her, but despite this, Starfire still yearns for a loving sibling bond rather than a competition. Literally, Blackfire's arrival and manipulation of Starfire's friends shows Starfire's deep insecurities about her worth and also her desire for acceptance. Throughout this episode, she was feeling anxious and feeling rejected, that her friends were more gravitated towards Blackfire than her. Throughout the series as well, Starfire also constantly tries to understand human customs. She was really trying to assimilate to a new world that she was not used to, which highlights her internal battle between wanting to belong and also being true to her unique identity. There was also an episode in the series in which they're basically showcasing discrimination as well. Also, when she was transforming, going through quote-unquote puberty, she was also dealing with her developing as a character while also trying to stay true to herself. She is such an interesting person. But we're gonna go into Beastboy. Beastboy often plays the comic relief in the group, but he also harbors deep trauma from his past as part of the Doom Patrol, and his feelings of being inadequate stemming from losing his family and his mentors. So his mental themes that was showcased throughout the series was survivor's guilt, self-doubt, being naive, and also coping with being abandoned. With Beastboy's character, he really had such a hard time handling responsibility, not only for himself but also for others. Beastboy often hides behind his humor, but he feels the weight of responsibility, especially after being a member of the Doom Patrol. He don't know the Doom adopted him after losing his family. In Homecoming Parts 1 and 2, Beastboy's past with the Doom Patrol is explored in these episodes, and really it highlights the guilt that he feels for the team's downfall and his struggle to live up to expectations of actually being a hero. His burden of responsibility and feeling inadequate are really central to these episodes, and it really emphasized how his past traumas affect his present actions. I would say I love how they included season 5 to be his character season, because it really shows who Beastboy truly is under that mask that he constantly portrays. In season 5 episode 11, Beastboy's role in reuniting the Titans and his efforts to lead them really shows his struggle with responsibility. He had a really optimistic view of people, but is often disappointed when they betray. His art frequently deals with the struggle to reconcile his hopeful outlook with the harsher realities of life. Throughout the series, you could tell he constantly wants Raven to be happy because he has more hopeful outlook on life, and he just doesn't like people being sad.
I'm an animal.
This episode had me shook. In this episode, he really struggled with controlling his animalistic side, and reflects his internal battle between his lighthearted persona and the rage and guilt he often suppresses. This episode shows his desire to really see the best in others and also in himself. Showcasing his darker instincts, he realizes that he has to face the reality of himself and really not suppress that emotion. With the episodes with Tara, Beastboy's relationship with Tara, who initially appears to be a friend and potential romantic interest, really highlights the struggle with trust and betrayal. When Tara reveals her true intentions and sides with Slade, Beastboy's hopefulness and optimistic views really shattered, and it deeply affected him emotionally. Like, I don't think he will ever recover. Even in the last episode when he saw Tara again, I don't think he will ever recover. Especially the leader, Robin. He often felt the weight of leadership and wrestles with the internal pressures stemming from his past with Batman. He had imposter syndrome. He had the need for belonging. He had a self-imposed pressure in being a perfectionist. Robin's desire to prove himself as a leader often caused tension in the show. Now, a lot of people don't like Teen Titans Go, but I find it funny sometimes, especially when they really highlight this tension that Robin has as a leader. Literally, Teen Titans Go is just basically him, Robin, dealing with all these mental themes I'm about to talk to, but in a more satire approach. With this tension, it's particularly with his obsession to be a hero separated from Batman's shadow. He wanted this team to reflect him as a person and not a Batman. And his need to belong among the Titans is a recurring theme in the series. Season 1, episode 9, Robin becomes Red Egg in an effort to outsmart Slade. It really shows his willingness to break his moral code in order to prove himself to be worthy as a leader. Now, this demonstrates imposter syndrome. This episode was very unique because it shows how, though he created this new team and he was separate from Batman, it really showed him if he stayed with Batman any longer, he would have become Batman. Robin's fear of becoming like Batman is a recurring tension in the show. Even though it wasn't stated explicitly, you could tell how he didn't want to become the person that he just left. Despite his desire for independence, he shares Batman's solitary tendencies, and often he pushed other people away, such as Starfire. He pushed Starfire a lot, and I think the reason was because he was around a person who also pushed people away. In the episode Haunted, season 3, episode 5, I love this episode so much. Even though it scared me as a child, this episode was so good, and it was so well done in really showcasing PTSD and mental trauma. In this episode, Robin hallucinates and sees Slade even when he was not there, and it shows the psychological toll of his obsession with being a perfect hero, because he wants Slade to be eliminated. He wants the true enemy to not cause any more harm. And him not knowing where he is, not knowing what he's doing, had a toll on him. And also, side note, I have a theory that during this time as well, I believe that during this time, the second Robin, which if you guys don't know is called Jason Todd, but Jason Todd, he was killed by Joker, but he was resurrected. I believe during this time, Robin probably knew about the passing of Jason Todd. I think it really made him become more aggressive, especially in season 3 and onwards, because he's really trying to eliminate villains. His fears and drive to be in control lead him to question his own sanity as well. Is he fit to become a hero? So unfortunate how in Teen Titans Go, they just really make him a satire with these mental themes. Like, dang, he did all this work for nothing. Anyways, Teen Titans really stand out as a series that skillfully addressed mental health issues throughout its character arc. Each main character experiences trauma and internal conflict that really reflects real-world psychological struggles such as identity crisis, emotional suppression, and survivor's guilt, etc. Intertwining these themes with superhero narratives really provides a more nuanced portrayal of mental health that resonates with viewers of all ages. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please leave any comments down about what you think about Teen Titans and which character you relate to the most with these mental themes that was addressed in the series. And please comment and subscribe because I have more videos on the way, bro. We'll see you guys in the comments. Bye.